Hello and welcome back to my website building series. In this episode, what we're going to do is actually start building the website. Now, what I recommend to people who are building their first website is not to start from scratch. I say to them, pick a template and start learning how that has been set up, almost reverse engineering your first site. So what you can do, depending on what business you are, you can search for a range of templates, and I'm going to show you how to do this and get it on your site for the first time. So as you can see, we're loaded on the back end of the website, and before we get started, I'm going to show you a few things I do when I first set up my site. So the first thing I do usually is go into settings and then go general. From here, I name my website, I also give my website a tagline. A great thing as well to do is, if you have it, is add your site icon here. That's a good thing to get added, but to be honest, I'm going to add it later, so you can do that as well. And then the next thing is to change the site admin. So it will usually be something generic like admin at and then your website URL. So what I do is just change it to whatever email you use the most. And then from there, you can go and save. And then another thing I do is I go to permalinks and I change it down to post name usually. And what this does is when you're making posts, it means that you're not having some date and then the name of the post in the URL, and it keeps it quite clean, I find, and it helps with search. Cool, okay, so now we've done those bits, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to plugins and then go add plugin, and I'm gonna type templately. And what this is a template library for Elementor, and I found that this one usually gives the best, apart from Envato, that's always good as well. But this, if you're first getting started, has a really good range of free ones. Yeah, so what you want to do is you want to click on starter, because if this is your first website, keep it to, trying to keep the cost down and keep it to all the free versions if you can. And then type whatever industry you're in. Okay, so as you can see, there's two starter options to pick for my plumbing. So I'm going to have a look at the first one. So you can see this one, quite clean and minimal. Let's have a look at the other one. Back to library. Okay, so this is quite like a sort of minimal one as well. Okay, so I think I prefer this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and import this template. Cool. So now it's taking me through the process. So what I want to do is I want to change the name. So I want to change it to Clear Flow Plumbing. And then I'm going to leave the tagline for now because it should pull that in from what I did earlier. And then it's going to ask you for all different plugins that it needs to make this template actually work. To be honest, some of them will be pro versions. And if it is a pro version, try download it anyway. Don't activate the license and then delete it and see if that affects it. But because I have these pro versions, I'm going to download the site. Cool. And then it says, congratulations, website's ready, so you can visit the site. Cool, and now as you can see, the template's all imported. Now, I'm not saying this happens 100% of the time, but some of the time it wouldn't have been imported correctly. Like you see here, there's some padding issues there. But don't worry, these are really easy to fix. So what I'd do is have a general scan of the site and make sure you're just sort of happy that everything's been imported somewhat properly. So quickly now, I'm going to show you through the whole structure of how the site's set up and what little bits you'll need to know. And then next video, we're going to actually get started on changing the bits, and I'll basically just start designing this website as I would, and you can follow along with me and do it with your own website. So the main thing to note is how to make edits. So you've got the sort of back end and the front end of designing options. So the front end is what you can see here, and this is what the users will be able to see. And then you've got the back end, which is all this sort of management processes. So what you need to know from this bit is posts is where you'll have like blogs, or if you have a different post type, maybe you have like a portfolio and decide to do them in here. Media, that's where all your files are, so all your images, if you connect any documents, videos, etc. And then pages is obviously all your pages. So if we go back onto the front end now, I'm just going to show you quickly first how to change. So this is a header and this is a footer. And what they are sections that are on every single page of the website. So rather than copy and pasting them on every single page, which you can do, but it's such a long process, and if you've got to change it, you've got to change it everywhere. What we do is we set it up globally. Now, another main thing to know what to do is how to actually edit the pages. So similar to that process we did with the header and the footer, what you do is let's start with the home page, for example. You'd literally just click edit with Elementor. So the differences is, so customize is customizing the whole site. But I'd leave that, that's more on the theme side. Edit page is editing the back end of the page. So if you want to edit the meta description, page title, featured image, that type of thing. And then edit with Elementor is where you actually edit the page. So if we click on that, and then from there, obviously we'll load in. But you can see on here, how it's all set up, and I'd say it's honestly worth you going away and just sort of having a look at how your website's now set up and structured. But what you need to know is there's sections, and then you've got the columns inside. Say for example you want to add a new, you click add, and then from there you can click Flexibox and choose the type of structure. I typically pick this one and then like change it slightly as I want. What you've got on, if you click the plus, what you've got there is you've got your containers, so you can drag these in to add more sections. Say you want to have it sort of 50% and then 50%, you can do that, so they're next to each other. And then you can drag in anything you want really, so you can drag in images, header, text, everything like that. Again, next video we'll be speaking about that in more detail. But for now, I'd say, yeah, just start having a look about how everything's set up and structured and how you start editing everything. The main thing to note is if you click on an element, most likely changing anything like change the image or changing what the text is going to be in content. Style is for how it actually looks. So the sort of typography, the color, all the sort of shadow, text shadow as well, that's all going to be there, but all those type of things surrounding the design is going to be in style. However, if you want to change like things like padding or margins or moving bits closer or further away, that's going to be in advanced. So a main concept to understand before you start building your site is the difference between margin and padding. So imagine you had a box, and if say you wanted to move the box down or up, that would be the margin. So to move the box down, you'd add some margins to the top and that would push it, or to the bottom and that would push it up. So margin, imagine, is outside this box. However, say for example inside the box you have an image and that's spread across the whole thing. Say you want to push the image in and have some spacing in between where the box starts and where the image actually is. That inside the box is padding. So really getting your head around those two concepts is important, as it helps this is one of the main things that makes a website look good. So there's one more thing I wanted to go over in this video, and that's how the blogs are set up. So, okay, right. So what I've done is I've looked through this template and I don't really like how it's set up, to be honest, in terms of the blogs. So I'm going to go over in the next video how you structure and create your own ones, because I think this isn't the right way to set up. And that's the main thing, is really understanding what the template is and the different ways you can structure stuff, because once you get more and more confident with developing your website, you understand the best ways that work for you and structuring your different things. So yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, hit the notifications on so you don't miss the next one. Yeah, thank you for watching, and I hope you find these videos and this video series helpful. I post every week, so yeah, I'll see you next week where we will go over actually starting to get this site sorted.